Ms. Smith, and of course, Ms. Smith, we promised the last time that we would give you an opportunity to sort of elaborate upon the community activities in reference to some of the things that you were involved in before the movement. And then Ms. Henry will also give us some information following that. And you should also say something. I understand that you were involved with the so-called Freedom Rides. And so we certainly want you to speak to that. Let's start with you.
I was a student at Tennessee State University. I had started school in '59. And just like Ms. Henry, I had not thought about segregation. I was just wrapped on becoming educated, you say. And when I started with the movement, I started realizing that things were not the same as they were in my neighborhood. When I went downtown as a little girl, we would see white people, but you didn't think much about it. And your parents protected you, and when you went back in your neighborhood, you went to the same schools, same churches, everybody knew everybody, and they were protective of us. And we didn't have any reason to even think about things that were wrong. But once I did, I said, well, if I can help do something, I will. And when I went on the Freedom Ride, that's when I really became totally involved. I was arrested on May 28th in Jackson, Mississippi, and I spent 39 days in jail. Part of that was in Parchman Penitentiary. And in jail, it was kind of, they tried to intimidate us and stuff like that, but we made it okay without being, I personally was not attacked or anything like that, but they tried to work on your mind mostly. And when we came back from jail, we did the stand-ins or the picketing at H.G. Hills. And that was just about my extent with the movement. I did go back to school because, of course, we were put out of, we were expelled from Tennessee State for going on the Freedom Ride. And I eventually went back to school after we were exonerated. And I did not complete my education, but I did get in 2.5 years. So that was my experience.
But it's so much courage that has to be involved with the two of you. Now, you sort of stumbled into the movement in a real sense.
Yes, I did.
Even after getting there, there was so much terror that was associated with this movement that somehow it seems that it would have been difficult for me to have maintained any kind of anything. I think I would have been too fearful in a real sense to have been involved in the movement because, see, I'm from Arkansas.
Okay.
And we understood. I was at A&M College in Pinewood, Arkansas, and we had 2,000 students there. And out of those 2,000 students, only 8 went down to protest, you know, the sit-in when y'all started in Nashville. You see, only 8 went down, you see. And most of us, because we were embarrassed, didn't want to admit that we were fearful and etc., we stood around and we pointed at them, you see, saying that they didn't understand the terror of the white man, the Ku Klux Klan, and et cetera, and et cetera. And so it took a lot of courage, you see, to become involved in it the way that the two of you were, especially knowing what I know about the Freedom Rides, Ms. Smith, that had to be a very, very terrifying experience because were you on the bus that was burned?
No, I was not. And I did not go when the students from Tennessee State took up the Freedom Ride after the Anniston burning. I stayed here and went to school and I sympathized with them. But one thing, my family asked me not to. And so I thought about it and I knew they were leaving the next day before I actually left. But after an incident on a West End bus, hearing something that someone said, that's when it hit me that I was supposed to be going on the Freedom Ride. And so I went home, got off the Jefferson Street bus, went to the office, asked could I still go. I was told I could. I went home and I called my mother. I said, I'm going. And this time she did not say, please don't. She said, okay, if you have to. So that's what I did, and I was gone.
That was just a development of growing consciousness among a lot of folks, among the students and among the parents and the people of understanding finally exactly what the whole thing was all about, and that somebody had to go.
Yeah, it was like I had to complete what I started.
Somebody had to go. And I know we've got about 5 minutes here. Frankie. Let's give you an opportunity to talk about your stint in jail.
Oh yes, after about 5 minutes,